What if the most dangerous men in any room aren't the loudest, the richest, or the most physically imposing, but the ones who've mastered their own minds? For too long, you've been sold a lie about intelligence. You've been told it's about grades, degrees, or how many books you've read. But true intelligence, the kind that makes you dangerously effective, isn't measured in IQ points. It's forged in discipline, silence, and an unshakable internal compass. Today, you'll discover 5 traits that separate dangerously smart men from everyone else trapped in mediocrity. These aren't superficial tricks. They're ancient, stoic principles that transform ordinary men into forces of nature. Watch till the end. Trait you skip might be the very one standing between you and the life you're capable of living. Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in the Roman Empire, wrote these words in his private journal, what we now call Meditations. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. He wasn't writing for publication. He wasn't seeking fame. He was reminding himself daily how to think, how to lead, and how to remain unshaken while the entire known world depended on his decisions. This is what dangerously smart men understand. Intelligence without character is just cleverness. Intelligence without discipline is wasted potential. But when you combine razor-sharp thinking with stoic principles, you become someone who doesn't just survive chaos, you thrive in it. In today's world, most men are reactive. They're pulled by distractions, controlled by emotions, enslaved by opinions. They think they're free, but they're prisoners of their own weakness. But not you, not anymore. In this video, we'll explore 5 traits that make certain men dangerously intelligent, not in the classroom, but in real life, where it actually matters. These traits will sharpen your judgment, strengthen your resolve, and make you the kind of man others instinctively respect and underestimate at their own peril. Let's begin. Trait 1. They control their actions, not their consciences. Epictetus, who lived as a slave before becoming one of history's greatest philosophers, taught in the Enchiridion. We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them. This is the foundation of dangerous intelligence. Most men waste their energy trying to control things beyond their power. Other people's opinions, market conditions, random setbacks, unfair treatment. They exhaust themselves fighting reality. Dangerously smart men recognize this trap immediately. They understand that true power lies not in controlling the external world, but in mastering their internal response to it. While others panic during crisis, they remain calm. While others react emotionally to criticism, they extract the useful information and discard the rest. This isn't about suppressing emotion that's weakness disguised as strength. This is about processing emotion without being controlled by it. When someone insults you, your body will produce cortisol. That's biology. But whether you let that cortisol dictate your response, that's philosophy. That's choice. That's power. Here's how you develop this trait starting tomorrow. When something frustrates you, pause for 3 seconds before responding. In that pause, ask yourself, is my reaction helping me achieve my goals, or is it just making me feel temporarily justified? This simple filter transforms reactive boys into strategic men. At work, when a project fails, most men immediately look for someone to blame. Dangerously smart men ask, what can I control moving forward? In relationships, when conflict arises, weak men escalate. Strong men de-escalate because they're not controlled by ego. They're guided by outcome. The dangerously smart man doesn't need to prove he's unaffected. He simply is unaffected. His internal world is a fortress. Circumstances are just weather patterns outside the walls. They come, they go. He remains, but controlling your reactions is just the beginning. There's a deeper trait that separates the truly dangerous from the merely disciplined. Let's move to trait 2. Trait 2, they think in stinsums, not events. Seneca wrote in his letters to Lucilius, luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. But here's what most people miss: preparation isn't about getting ready for one specific event. It's about building systems that make you ready for any event. Dangerously smart men don't think in isolated incidents. They see patterns. They recognize systems. While everyone else is focused on the single wave hitting them right now, these men understand the tide, the moon cycle, and the seasonal patterns creating those waves. This is what separates strategic thinking from reactive thinking. Most men see their financial struggle as bad luck. Dangerously smart men see it as the predictable outcome of poor systems. No budget, no investment strategy, no income diversification. Most men see relationship problems as personality conflicts. Smart men see communication systems that need redesign. When you think in systems, you stop being surprised by predictable outcomes. You start seeing 3 moves ahead. You recognize that today's small decisions are creating tomorrow's large consequences. The problem with event-based thinking is that it makes you perpetually reactive. Something happens, you respond. Another thing happens, you respond again. You're playing defense your entire life, always one step behind. But when you shift to systems thinking, you become proactive. You build morning routines that guarantee productive days. You create communication protocols that prevent relationship breakdowns. You design financial systems that generate wealth automatically. You're not managing crises, you're preventing them. Here's your practical application. Take one recurring problem in your life right now. Stop asking, how do I fix this problem? Start asking, what system would make this problem impossible? If you're always running late, don't just try harder tomorrow, build a system with earlier alarms, pre-packed bags, and time buffers. If you're constantly tired, don't just drink more coffee, design the sleep system with consistent bedtimes and stimulus control. Dangerously smart men build infrastructure. Everyone else just reacts to fires. While others are exhausted from constant crisis management, you're operating from a foundation of systems that work whether you're motivated or not. Remember, motivation is fleeting. Systems are permanent, but there's something even more powerful than systems. Something most men are too afraid to develop. Let's explore trait 3. Trait 3, they embrace esterate silence. Marcus Aurelius observed in Meditations, Book 4, if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not right, do not say it. In a world drowning in noise, the dangerously smart man has mastered something most people fear: silence. Not the awkward silence of social anxiety. The strategic silence of complete self-control. Most men feel compelled to fill every space with words. They need to prove they're smart, so they speak constantly. They need to prove they're right, so they argue endlessly. They need validation, so they overshare. This reveals weakness, not strength. Dangerously smart men understand that silence is power. When you don't need to prove anything, you reveal nothing. When you speak less, people listen more. When you withhold your opinion, people value it higher. This isn't manipulation, it's understanding human psychology. Silence serves multiple strategic purposes. First, it allows you to observe while others reveal themselves. In any negotiation, meeting, or conflict, the person talking is giving away information. The person listening is collecting intelligence. Second, silence creates psychological pressure. Most people are so uncomfortable with quiet that they'll fill it with confessions, concessions, and valuable information you never had to ask for. Third, and most importantly, silence protects your energy. Every unnecessary word you speak is energy you're spending. Every argument you don't engage in is power you're conserving. Every time you refuse to defend yourself against meaningless criticism, you're demonstrating that you operate on a level where such things don't touch you. Here's what this looks like in practice, at work. When someone makes a provocative statement trying to bait you into an argument, you simply nod and move on. Your silence communicates that their opinion doesn't warrant a response. In social situations, when someone brags or exaggerates, you don't compete or correct, you listen and file away what their need to impress reveals about their insecurity. In relationships, when emotions run high, instead of matching intensity with intensity, you pause, you breathe, you let the storm pass. Then you speak with precision, not to win, but to resolve. The weak man needs the last word. The dangerously smart man doesn't need any words. His results speak for him. His character speaks for him. His silence is louder than anyone's noise. But even strategic silence isn't the most dangerous trait. What comes next is what truly separates masters from students. Let's continue to trait 4. Trait 4. They deliberately pursue discomfort. Seneca challenged his readers with this profound truth. Set aside a certain number of days during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, that you may come to know whether it is truly something to be feared. Dangerously smart men do something that seems insane to comfortable people. They voluntarily make their lives harder. They wake up early when they could sleep in. They train their bodies when they could rest. They have difficult conversations when they could avoid conflict. They pursue challenges when they could coast. Why? Because they understand a fundamental truth about human psychology. Comfort is the enemy of growth, and growth is the only path to true capability. Most men spend their entire lives trying to avoid discomfort. They stay in safe jobs that bore them. They avoid difficult conversations that need to happen. They choose short-term pleasure over long-term gain. Then they wonder why they feel weak, why they lack confidence, why opportunities never seem to come their way. The answer is simple. They haven't built the tolerance for discomfort that creates opportunity. When a difficult situation arises, they are unprepared. When a challenge presents itself, they're not capable. When pressure increases, they break. Dangerously smart men train differently. They seek out the hard thing, not because they're masochists, but because they're strategists. Every time you voluntarily choose discomfort, you expand your capacity. Every cold shower makes the next one easier. Every difficult project makes the next one manageable. Every confrontation you don't avoid makes you stronger for the next one. This is how you develop this trait. Start small, but start now. Tomorrow morning, make your bed before you do anything else. It's uncomfortable because you're tired. Do it anyway. This builds the neural pathway that says, I do hard things even when I don't feel like it. Next, have one difficult conversation you've been avoiding. The anticipation is worse than the reality, and on the other side is freedom. Then scale up. Take on the project everyone else avoids. Train your body past the point of comfort. Fast for a day. Sit with your thoughts without distraction for 30 minutes. Each of these experiences is building something precious proof to yourself that you can handle hard things. This creates a dangerous confidence that others can feel but can't quite identify. You walk differently when you know you've done hard things. You speak differently when you're not afraid of discomfort. You make decisions differently when you trust your ability to handle whatever consequences come. While others are controlled by the fear of discomfort, you've made it your training ground. This is power that cannot be taken from you. But there's one final trait, the most dangerous of all. Let's move to trait 5. Trait 5. They memento mori the way remender, death Marcus Aurelius, confronted the ultimate truth in Meditations, Book 2. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. This isn't morbid. This is the most clarifying truth you'll ever internalize. Dangerously smart men live with acute awareness that their time is finite. This doesn't make them depressed, it makes them focused, decisive, and unshakable. When you truly understand that you will die, not someday in some vague future, but potentially, today, everything changes. Petty concerns evaporate, social anxiety disappears, fear of judgment becomes irrelevant. What others think means nothing compared to how you're spending your irreplaceable time. Most men live as if they're immortal. They waste years in jobs they hate, telling themselves someday they'll pursue what matters. They avoid risk because they think they have unlimited time to play it safe. They hold grudges and nurse resentments as if they have decades to waste on negativity. Then they reach 40, 50, 60, and they realize with horror that most of their life is gone. They spent it on autopilot, living according to someone else's script, and now it's too late to rewrite it. Dangerously smart men reject this delusion early. They practice memento mori, remember death, as a daily meditation. This isn't pessimism, it's the ultimate life optimization tool. When you know your time is limited, you stop tolerating what doesn't serve you. You stop waiting for permission. You stop caring about trivial opinions. Here's how this transforms your life immediately. Every morning when you wake up, remind yourself, I have been given another day. It is not guaranteed. How will I use it? This single thought cuts through procrastination like a blade. That difficult phone call you've been avoiding, make it today. That business idea you've been planning for years, start it now. That person you need to forgive or remove from your life, handle it this week. When you're in a meeting that's wasting your time, memento mori gives you permission to leave. When you're scrolling social media for the 3rd hour, memento mori snaps you back to reality. When you're about to say yes to something you don't want to do, memento mori gives you the courage to say no. This awareness makes you dangerous because you cannot be controlled by the usual levers, social pressure, fear of judgment, need for approval. You answer to a higher authority, the limited time you have before you return to dust. This makes you immune to manipulation and focus on what actually matters. People will feel this about you even if they can't articulate it. You'll carry a seriousness, a purposefulness that others lack. You won't waste time on gossip, drama, or meaningless status games. You'll be too busy building something that matters. This is what it means to be dangerously smart. Not clever, not educated. Dangerous because you've developed traits that make you effective, focused, and unshakable in a world full of distracted, reactive, and fragile people. Let's bring this together. You've just learned 5 traits that separate dangerously smart men from everyone else settling for mediocrity. These aren't theories, they're battle-tested principles from men who built empires, survived slavery, and led nations. Trait 1. They control their reactions, not their circumstances. True power is internal, not external. Trait 2. They think in systems, not events, building infrastructure that prevents crises instead of managing them. Trait 3. They embrace strategic silence, conserving energy and collecting intelligence, while others exhaust themselves with noise. Trait 4. They deliberately pursue discomfort, expanding capacity by voluntarily choosing the hard thing. Trait 5. They remember death, using mortality as the ultimate clarifier for what deserves their limited time. These aren't just ideas to nod along with and forget. These are tools to transform who you are and how you move through the world. The question is, will you use them? You already possess everything you need. You don't need anyone's permission. You don't need perfect circumstances. You need commitment to becoming the kind of man who makes others nervous because they can't predict you, can't manipulate you, can't break you. If this resonated with you, if you felt something shift, tap that like button right now. It tells me to keep delivering this unapologetic Stoic truth. Then drop a comment. Which trait hit hardest? Which one are you committing to develop this week? Your written word has power. It transforms intention into commitment. And subscribe if you're ready for more. Every single week, we cut through the comfort culture and build men of substance, discipline, and dangerous intelligence. Remember, the world doesn't need more clever people. It needs more men of character who think clearly, act decisively, and remain unshaken. You have the tools. You have the time. You have this moment.